Yes, I am here as your realities are. That's right, yesterday. In fact, I want to talk about this briefly this morning. Have some other things to get to as well. But welcome to the program. Email, as always, todd@toddhuffshow.com. Thoughts, opinions, feedback, adoration, and praise. Also accepted. Download the podcast for free. Apple Podcast, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you enjoy your podcasts. I encourage you to do that. And you can get content that you missed totally free, folks. So good to be here. Welcome to the program. I want to pick up where we touched on yesterday, which is this reality czar stuff, which is a real thing. Apparently, people are really thinking this. New York Times piece by Kevin Roose, how the Biden administration can help solve our reality crisis. These steps, experts say. That's right. One of my favorite groups of people are the experts. No one really knows who they are. They're self-identified many times. People saying, yes, I am the expert. I can speak on this matter. What qualifies you to be an expert? Well, I've been trained and prepared by the most credentialed liberals and lovers of big government around, socialists and communists, so that makes me an expert. Not me, this is what they would say. But anyway, the subheading here, these steps, experts say, could prod more people to abandon the scourge of hoaxes and lies. Let me tell you some hoaxes and lies. Number one, socialism is good. There's a hoax and a lie. Where's Twitter on that? Jack, you going to get on that and make sure that your audience at Twitter knows? They know that literally 100 million people were killed by their governments that had socialist foundations, communist foundations. Of course, socialism is inherently part of communism. I'm not saying they're identical, but they are certainly left unchecked. One leads to the other. I don't think that that's debatable in a real sense. I know that they're not the same. I'm not saying they are the same, but if you don't actively confine it or keep it from growing, it turns into communism. That's what it does. Governments grow. That's why our founders wrote a constitution to keep the government in its proverbial lane, so to speak. Hoaxes and lies. We're fed hoaxes and lies by the media each and every day. For example, the lie that the only way that you can show that you care about people that are working for a living is to raise the minimum wage, that minimum wage increases will be good for the economy. That's a lie. That's not good. People making more money is good, but artificially propping that up and making it something because someone decides that it is good is not the way to do it. That is a lie. That is a hoax, if you will. It's a hoax that people want to believe, and it makes people feel good. But that's not the way to increase wages. In fact, when you look at the number of people that earn more than minimum wage, we've been told that businesses only pay people what as little as they have to. Now, I guess depending upon your vantage point, you could say that is true. I mean, I guess if what you mean is they don't just pay people whatever they feel like in a positive sense, hey, I really like this person, let's give them $200,000 a year. That's not how it works. That's not how economics work. It turns out that everything has to the bottom line has to make sense. It can't just be whatever we want it to be. And arbitrarily and artificially propping it up is not reality. It is a hoax. It is a lie. Government is not your savior. Government cannot solve your problems. You must address and solve your problems. You might be able to find people around you. There's people out there willing to help you. Certainly, absolutely. Groups and organizations, sometimes you have to pay them money. Sometimes they do things like maybe a church provides help for free, but there are people willing to help you, but the government can't cure or solve your problems. not the way that this works. And if $15 is good, you've heard the old argument, why not 20? Well, there's some in Congress now that say 20 is what it should be. I think Ayanna Pressley, the squad, I think, is on board with that. $20 per hour minimum wage, that's what's to be expected. And on and on. Why not 25? Why not 30? Why not 100? Well, Todd, at some point you're being ridiculous. Oh, so there is a point. There is a point at which it just simply doesn't work. Even the people who are proponents of the minimum wage have to acknowledge that. Otherwise, why wouldn't it be 1501, 1502, 16, 25, and on this goes. But anyway, I want to get to this because the New York Times and the experts that they've interviewed think that in order to combat all of the misinformation, they don't think about looking at their own newsroom. Of course, why would they? Because they have a political agenda that they want to see accomplished. They don't think about giving you information as much as getting you to think what they want you to think. But they don't consider simply just doing their job. Instead, they think of how do we get people to not believe things that we don't want them to believe is basically what this comes down to. And so they interview experts, and of course these experts are undoubtedly all liberal. I want to read a portion of this. I don't want to read this whole stupid thing. I'm going to hit a couple of the high points, and I'll start here at the beginning. And the article starts with this. Last month, millions of Americans watched as President Biden took the oath of office in a high-minded inaugural address. Did Kevin watch this thing? Kevin, did you watch this thing? Did you listen to the words? Did you write this before the speech was given? Because I could come up with a lot of descriptions for this address, and high-minded would not be one of those things. Anyway, Kevin writes here, Kevin Roos, Biden called for a new era of American unity. That's right. Democrats are in charge. We need to unify and get behind the message so that they can implement the policies and procedures that they want to see implemented in this great nation. Kevin continues here, but plenty of other Americans weren't paying attention to Mr. Biden's speech. They were too busy, Kevin says, watching YouTube videos alleging that the inauguration was a pre-recorded hoax that had been filmed on a Hollywood soundstage, or they were melting down in QAnon group chats trying to figure out why former President Donald J. Trump wasn't interrupting Mr. Biden's speech to declare martial law and announce the mass arrest of satanic pedophiles. Or maybe their TVs were tuned to OAN, where an anchor was floating the baseless theory that Mr. Biden wasn't actually elected by the people. Baseless, look, I mean, have to exercise extreme caution here when talking about this. But the idea that election fraud charges are baseless is a baseless charge. There absolutely is plenty of evidence to suggest that voter fraud existed in 2020. Some things that happened that should absolutely, positively never, ever, ever happen again. That never should have happened. That never should have happened. You're not allowed to say that, and no one's allowed to say that on OAN or any other network, any other news outlet as well. Hoaxes, lies, he continues, and collective delusions aren't new. These people live in a delusion. Anyway, but the extent to which millions of Americans have embraced them may be. 30% of Republicans have a favorable view of QAnon, according to a recent YouGov poll. According to other polls, more than 70% of Republicans believe Mr. Trump legitimately won the election, and 40% of Americans, including plenty of Democrats, believe the baseless theory that COVID-19 was manufactured in a Chinese lab. Again, baseless is not the right word to say here. Disputed, okay, but baseless. I mean, these allegations were made very early on. In fact, the allegations that it was manufactured in a Chinese lab, other people are starting to say that again. I'm not making the claim, but to say that it's completely baseless, it could be wrong, but to say baseless is not the proper use of that word. Anyway, he continues, the muddled, chaotic information ecosystem that produces these misguided beliefs doesn't just jeopardize some lofty ideal of national unity. It actively exasperates our biggest national problems and creates more More work for those trying to solve more work for those trying to solve them. If you believe things that the New York Times doesn't want you to believe, you're making life hard on Joe Biden. You're making life difficult for Kamala Harris. You're being too hard on Chuck Schumer. You're making things too challenging for Nancy Pelosi. That's what this is saying. It's total. It is preposterous and beyond my look. I know these folks. I understand what they think. I get where they're coming from. I know what they're trying to do, but this is totally laughable to me. Absolutely, totally laughable. After 4 years of pushing, you talk about a hoax. What about Trump-Russian collusion? The New York Times pushed this nonsense, even when we knew it was not accurate, even remotely close to true. Even when we knew that they based this, the Russian dossier was used as the foundation for getting a warrant from the court, a FISA court, where, yes, they were given permission to spy on the Trump administration. FISA, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Surveillance and spying are used in a synonymous way. This is not complicated. The question wasn't whether or not they spied on the Trump administration. The question, well, not the administration, the Trump campaign, let's say that. The question is whether or not it was done legally. That was the question. And then we had all this stuff that flowed from this, which involved impeachment number 1, which really led us to so much hatred to where we have impeachment number 2 as well. Now, you could say it's different, but these things are all related. We started, this second impeachment process in the House, they just basically got together and said, look, we're going to cast a vote to impeach Trump. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, you are now treasonous. That's basically what they did. And so this is where we find ourselves here in the early period of Biden's, the Biden administration, as much as it pains me to say that. So he concludes here by saying this particular paragraph, and when we get back from the break, I'm going to talk about some of their suggested next steps on how they can basically get the rest of the Republicans and the dopes in America, the idiots, to see the beauty of what Biden's trying to accomplish, the genius of it, how profoundly important it is to suddenly unite as Americans. We actually had a hashtag in the past, probably spread in part maybe by the New York Times for all I know. The hashtag was the resistance, the part of the resistance. The resistance was the group of folks that opposed President Trump. That was considered patriotic by the left, the radical left, by the media. That was necessary to stop Trump from being a dictator and from taking over our nation as though he was Adolf Hitler. That is what we were told. That was the narrative. That is the flavor. And now they want the other side to just simply say, you know what? You're right. It's time to unify because you're in power. And in case you do not know what it means to unify for the left, look no further than their intention, even though Joe Manchin threw a wrench in the gears here, their intention to use budget reconciliation to pass this COVID relief package. They talk about bipartisanship, they talk about working together, but then they come out and they say, hey, we want to have something done here. We want bipartisan support, but if you don't join us, no one's stopping you from joining us and actually casting the vote for bipartisanship. But this is what we're going to pass. This is the bill. 10 Republican senators take Biden a bill that has less spending. He listens to that conversation, maybe for all we know, chasing his dog during the meeting. I don't know with what Biden's doing in these meetings. But anyway, they have these meetings. It's a fluff meeting. There's nothing there. As soon as they walk out, they say, okay, this is what we're going to do. If you want to be bipartisan, vote with us. Otherwise, we're passing it anyway because we're going to ram this thing through with budget reconciliation. If that doesn't prove to the average person what bipartisanship and unity means to the radical left, they need to wipe the crust out of their eyes and take a new look because this is exactly what they mean. And so now for those of us who question the left, question the media, question the narrative, question the intentions, all this sort of stuff that we question, we're skeptical about as it pertains to our government. especially the modern Democrat Party. We need to be dealt with, and that's what this article is about. And that's why you also hear talk of, reprogramming people like me and you so that we believe the right things. But they really think that that's really, really important. It's a national security threat. How to unite a country in which millions of people, he writes, have chosen to create their own version of reality. The last thing the New York Times is qualified to tell us about is reality. The very last thing on that list is reality. Anyway, doesn't stop them, and it doesn't stop people from believing it. I got to take a time out. Come back here, pick up, talk more about this, and get into a few other things I want to get to today. But time is telling me it's time to take a break, so sit tight. Be back here in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter. To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
If you own a rental property, you know the hassles of marketing, renting, collecting, and the handling of maintenance and repairs. One call to Zuluscape can put an end to your property management headaches. Zuluscape has over 20 years of experience helping landlords throughout central Indiana and taking the stress out of owning a rental. From A to Z, let Zuluscape handle it all so you can enjoy owning a rental instead of hating being a landlord. Give us a call at 317-663-8485 or visit our website at Zuluscape.com.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
Hunting, fishing, bows, guns, ammo, safes, and more. The Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood has all the gear you need for your outdoor experience. We have a huge selection of brands that other shops don't carry, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff ready to answer all your outdoor adventure questions. At Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood, you can even hone your archery skills at our indoor shooting range. Find us online at outdoorsmansportshop.com. So get outdoors, but bring the right gear.
Family owned since 1973, Edwards Equipment at 1375 East Main Street in Danville is ready to meet your equipment needs by selling, renting, and servicing several makes and models of lightweight residential or heavy-duty commercial equipment. We carry and service top-name brands like Ferris, Kubota, Steel, Gravely, Honda Power, Land Pride, and more. Visit edwardstractor.com or call 317-745-6427 to check out our clearance specials today. At Edwards Equipment, we don't just sell you any piece of equipment, we sell you the right piece of equipment.
The compassion of Christ. It's living life connecting to the broken and messy world. It's not simply walking down the street and dropping a quarter in someone's bucket. It's been perverted by Satan from biblical compassion to feeling sorry for, and sympathy isn't where God wants us to live. It's connecting to broken people in our daily life. Living the compassion of Christ.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
Have you seen the price of custom cabinetry and countertops lately? If you're looking for quality, affordable remodels, call Carriage House Woodworking. Our helpful professionals will walk you through every step of the process. We're offering a free sink base with qualifying purchases. Just enter CHWEINC.com/Todd or call 317-406-3042. Call Carriage House Woodworking. You won't have to spend your kids' inheritance just to upgrade your kitchen.
Welcome back. Should mention that this show, radio show / podcast, is brought to you in part by our good friends at Greg Hubler Chevy. Greg Hubler Chevy, located in Canby, convenient drive from Indianapolis, just down State Road 67, Kentucky Avenue, the southwest side. They are, look, folks, they've been an advertiser with us for some time. I've gotten to know Greg, have a lot of respect for Greg. Heard a lot of folks, I know a lot of folks that have been taken care of by Greg as well. So if you're looking for a new vehicle, I ask that you consider giving Greg and his team a chance, give them an opportunity to earn your business, and I think you will be, you'll be satisfied. You'll be pleased with that, giving them that opportunity. So for more information, you can see their website, GregHublerChevy.com, GregHublerChevy.com, or call them 317-831-0770, 317-831-0770. Be sure to tell them that Todd sent you. And again, Greg's a good guy. Take good care of you. So let's look here, pick up where we left off before the break. So basically, the left and the media, they're worried. They're concerned that people like you, people like you and me, we don't believe their narrative. There's too many conspiracy theories. And look, you don't hear us talk about conspiracy theories on this program. Now, everything that the left and the media decries as a conspiracy theory is not necessarily a conspiracy theory. That is not an accurate depiction of reality either. But we're not into this, what they call conspiracy theories, some things that are on the fringe or what have you. But look, the government and what the government has done, what the media has done, has been bad enough on its own. We don't even have to venture into the world of conspiracy theory to talk about things that's going to rattle the feathers of the left, because the truth and what they've engaged in and the depravity of the ideology that they are embracing in socialism and communism in some instances is bad enough, right? Then again, it's bad enough. So, but they're trying to figure out, how do we get people to stop believing stuff contrary to what we want them to believe, basically. So there's a couple of points that the experts agreed on. The first one is assess the damage and avoid the, quote, terrorist trap. This is what the author writes here. The experts agreed that before the Biden administration can tackle disinformation and extremism, it needs to understand the scope of the problem. It's really important that we have a holistic understanding of what the spectrum of violent extremism looks like in the United States, and then allocate resources accordingly, says William Braniff, a counterterrorism expert and professor at the University of Maryland. Joan Donovan, the research director of Harvard University's Shorenstein Center on Media Politics and Public Policy, suggested that the Biden administration could set up a truth commission. That is right, a truth commission. Similar to the 9/11 Commission, to investigate the planning and execution of the Capitol siege on January 6th. This effort, she said, would ideally be led by people with deep knowledge, leftists, by the way, of the many networked factions that coordinated and carried out the riot, including white supremacist groups and far-right militias. These folks, you talk about the attention the media gives to white supremacist groups and these radical, radical groups. The attention that they give them is so much more than they could possibly garner on their own. Dr. Donovan says this: there must be accountability for these actions. My fear is that we will get distracted as a society and focus too much on giving voice to the fringe groups that came out in droves for Trump. What about the fringe groups that came out in droves for the left? What about those? I'm sure there's not a single one that the New York Times can find. They'll probably, scour the earth, the countryside looking for these groups and will not find a single one. They won't find the radicals in the Black Lives Matter movement. They won't find a group called Antifa. In fact, they'll tell us Antifa is more of an idea. Isn't this what Biden told us? Antifa is an idea more than it is a group. Well, what's the idea? Fighting the fascists. They're anti-fascists. They're fighting Trump. Okay. Why does their behavior and tactics look remarkably similar to actual fascists? President Biden. Is this just something I'm conjuring up in my mind and in my head? This sounds like 1984, by the way. George Orwell, it's almost as though he was alive and looking at some of these things in 2021 prior to writing his book that he entitled 1984. So that's the first thing. They got to get their arms around the scope of this problem. The next thing they have to do, and I have to take a break, and this is the one I've kind of glommed onto here, but appoint a reality czar. A reality czar. According to this article in the New York Times, several experts I spoke with recommended that the Biden administration put together a cross-agency task force, that sounds impressive, to tackle disinformation and domestic extremism, which would be led by something like a reality czar. It sounds a little dystopian, I'll grant, but let's hear them out. A little dystopian. This literally is taken out of the pages of 1984. A reality czar. They want to tell you, folks, they want to tell you what reality is. Again, the last thing in the world the New York Times and our government is qualified to tell any of us about is reality. They live in a bubble. If you've been in Washington, D.C., for any length of time, you know what I'm talking about. If you see what these jokers believe, if you see the ideology they embrace, these are things that exist only in the classroom. These utopian ideas and promises and these grandiose objectives that they set out for us, these are things that do not exist in reality. The last thing that anyone tied to the Biden administration, Washington, D.C., the swamp, Democratic leadership in the modern Democrat Party, I would even maintain leadership of Republican Party. Folks that are in D.C. for long periods of time, the last thing in the world they are qualified to tell any of us about is reality. They live in a make-believe world and a ridiculous bubble. That is where they live. And experts have said that it's time to consider this. The author here says that it sounds a little dystopian. A little bit. Again, it's lifted straight from the pages of 1984, George Orwell's novel. A little dystopian. It is the absolute definition of dystopian, right? The opposite. This is a government that turns into something undesirable and bad. The opposite of that perfect utopian society that we're often promised, either directly or indirectly by those embracing the ideology of the radical left. A little dystopian. I'm going to read one more line from this and then take a time out. Right now, these experts said the federal government's response to disinformation and domestic extremism is haphazard and spread across multiple agencies, and there's a lot of unnecessary overlap. Renee DiResta, I lied, I'm going to read one more line. A disinformation researcher at Stanford's Internet Observatory, just wrapping my head around those words, gave the example of two seemingly unrelated problems: misinformation about COVID-19 and misinformation about election fraud. The same people, she says, are responsible for spreading both types of these lies. I don't know. Maybe we should come after them, have them banned from Twitter. Maybe we should have them silenced by the government. What do they want to do? They want to put these folks in prison? What? They just want to have the reality czar go to the podium, maybe circle back like Jen Psaki does to all these things that are happening in society, and he can go through the list, or she can go through the list of allegations and claims being made by social media personalities or groups, QAnon and so forth, and they can list them one by one and say this is factually false as decreed by the realities are, I hereby declare this a lie. If anyone is caught repeating it, believing it at all, you will face serious consequences. What do they want to have happen here? You know, the truth is a powerful force. You know, the truth is like a shining and guiding light. And light dispels darkness, right? If you just proclaim the truth, which these folks are not interested in, I'm going to tell you, they are not interested in proclaiming the truth. They are interested in furthering an ideology, in empowering themselves, in entrenching themselves in government, and growing the government, and building their retirement plans and pathways to wealth through the system of governance. These folks, it's just unbelievable what we've allowed to have happen in our nation's capital. They're not interested in that. They're not interested in fighting lies and disinformation. If they would all come out today and tell us that socialism is the biggest fraud and lie that has ever been perpetrated on the American people. It is not this wonderful utopian ideal. It is, in fact, the definition of dystopia. It is the definition of a bad life. But this is what they promise us. They promise us if we just give them more power, more money, more authority, more control, that they will take care of our problems and everything will be, as I like to say, hunky-dory apple pie. Timeout is needed. Along in this segment, Oz did her job. I did not stay on the clock. Got to take a quick timeout, come back. I want to shift gears a tad bit here when we get back. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I think this kind of leads into this. So a timeout is necessary. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I am your host, Todd Huff. Back in a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Are you tired of manually opening the gate every time you pull in the drive, especially during the freezing cold, pouring rain, or hot, humid weather? Then Gatekeeper Services has your solution. They offer affordable residential and commercial motorized units for your gated properties. Veteran-owned with over 50 years' experience in motorized gate sales and repairs on any make or model, and with numerous entry control options, Gatekeeper Services takes pride being certified in both automated gate system design and operator installation. Simplify your life today by calling 317-714-4061.
There's a lot going on in the world today, and with so much going on, it's sometimes hard to maintain balance. Jesus said in John 16:33, "In this world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." I'm Pastor Jeff Floyd of the Martinsville First Church of the Nazarene. To experience how life can be better with Jesus, come worship at M1 Church at 10 a.m. this Sunday, 1609 John R. Wooden Drive in Martinsville, or catch our live stream service on Facebook at M1 Church. For more information, visit m1nazarene.org. Have a great day today in Jesus.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
Fireplaces can be beautiful and even essential in heating some homes. But did you know they could be dangerous to your family if not properly maintained? Chimneys need to be cleaned and inspected annually. My family and I had Smalling Masonry inspect ours. They are friendly, informative, on time, and helped us use our wood-burning stove more efficiently. Call Christian-owned Smalling Masonry today at 317-903-8121 and mention my name, Todd Huff, for a 15% off chimney inspection and sweep.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegieAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freegie, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegieAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegie, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegie and Freegie Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Welcome back. All right, so those of you that have listened for some time, you know that, and maybe not even, maybe those of you who haven't listened for long at all, you know that I am a conservative and I am a Christian. Now, you don't have to be those things to listen to this program. You don't have to be those things and for you and I to be friends. In fact, I've been friends with liberal atheists. That's okay. Not a problem. I mean, I do think that the ideas matter. I think suddenly because someone that I'm friends with doesn't believe in God doesn't mean that God ceases to exist, and they are wrong about that. And once that relationship allows for it, I will certainly have a conversation if they want to do that about those things. But that's another subject altogether. We're free to believe and live our lives as we choose to do so. But I want to say this, and I'm going to have to go into the next segment as well. But so we know that the evangelical community, the Christian community, largely supported and or voted for. I'm careful how I say this. I don't mean that this is a blanket endorsement for everything Donald Trump ever did. That's not the case. In fact, Christians have also condemned things that Trump has said and done in the past and so forth. But in general, the Christian community was in agreement with the policies, direction that President Trump was leading, or his administration was going in this nation as it pertains to life, as it pertains to freedom of speech, as it pertains to the freedom of religion, as it pertains to allowing people of faith to move away from this idea that the government has to. I mean, this is a pervasive idea that the government has to, I guess, give the thumbs up for every person. Okay, that's acceptable. We'll allow that to happen, for example. Some people really kind of believe that, and that's not a good thought process to have. That's a dangerous one. We don't need to look to the government to approve what we think and believe. That's not its purpose. That's not its point. But people do that. But one of the things that I've heard discussed a lot, and I want to talk about it just for a bit, is this concept of praying for. You'll often hear people say our leaders. I don't like that term in this sense. We don't. I mean, you could say our political leaders might be a little bit better, but it's really more our representatives, our elected officials. We're not subservient to them. They're not our masters. They're not they're not better than us. They just have positions that does include authority, right? Lawmakers, courts. And we absolutely should respect the position, and we shouldn't make attacks on the person personal. We have to have a little bit of fun. I mean, we're all human. I make fun of myself on here from time to time as well. I mean, nothing's off base completely in that regard, but there needs to generally be a respect for, and then this concept of praying for people in positions of authority, which we should do. The Bible's clear on that. But what does that really mean? I think we have to be careful, and I think sometimes very well-meaning people can say, hey, we got to pray for those in power. That's exactly right. But what follows from that, and what does that really mean? In fact, I had someone say to me, there's been a lot of prayer for this election, so God must have, wanted Biden to win or whatever. People, have these sorts of thought processes in their head and so forth. I mean, I have degrees of these things as well. I just want to kind of talk through that for a moment because I think it's important, and I think some folks confuse those words to say we really can't oppose what this person's trying to do because God allowed him or her to be in power. This is what this person wants. I guess we have to do it. That is not the same thing, and I want to go through that after the break, and we will do that after this quick timeout. If you're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk, I am your host, Todd Huff, back here in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Hey Indy, Sid here with Kill a Dent Removal. We specialize in a paint-free repair process known as PDR. Our certified master technicians remove dents and dings of all shapes and sizes, including hail damage, with 0 body fillers, 0 painting, and 0 diminished value. Most repairs are completed the same day, many even while you wait. Check us out at killadentremoval.com. And remember, folks, don't paint your car, go PDR.
Why would you call a company called Commercial Service for your home heating, cooling, and plumbing? Same question I had, because they have provided over 70 years of quality service and trained products for both homes and businesses in Central Indiana. It's hard to stop Commercial Service, and it's hard to stop a train. Give them a call. I'm glad I did.
Call Commercial Service at 812-339-9114 or online at commercialservice.com. Commercial Service, commercial-grade service for your home.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in Central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Problems in the bedroom? Not that kind. Bed bugs. At Integrated Pest Control, we make sure you never have to worry about any pests in your home or business again. We are the bed bug specialists with over 20 years of combined experience. Our promise is to keep your home or business completely pest-free for 90 days, or we will retreat the area absolutely free. Visit IntegratedPestControlLLC.com or call 317-349-0094 for your free bed bug inspection.
Business leaders, are your employees satisfied with their jobs? Do they enjoy coming to work and feel valued? Workforce Chaplains can help. Locally owned, we work with organizations to provide holistic care to their employees. I'm Marcus Schrader, President of Workforce Chaplains, and we offer your team a 24/7 support system that positively affects your company's culture and productivity. With our personalized pricing and diverse support system, we handle the issues that you wish you had time for. To learn more, visit us at workforcechaplains.com.
Would you like to save 20% or more on your insurance? Let AIA and Avon do a free comparison for you. As an independent agent, we can find savings that fit your needs and budget. We work for you, not the insurance companies. Whether your insurance need is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they were able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less.
800-281-0266. 800-281-0266. That's 800-281-0266.
folks, and thanks so much for listening. This program is brought to you in part by our friends at Wallace Construction. Wallace Construction can help pave your driveway, your business's parking lot. They can do concrete work in your community here in central Indiana, your property, your neighborhood, whatever the case may be, whatever the need may be. You can find out more by visiting them online, Wallace Construction Inc., INC, wallaceconstructioninc.com, or call them 317-422-5356, 317-422-5356. Be sure to tell them Todd sent you. So, okay, want to get back to what we were talking about before the break. This concept, and it's biblical, right, to pray for those placed in positions of authority, our elected officials. We should pray for them, pray for their safety, pray for their wisdom, pray for the people they surround themselves with. Pray that they seek, that they pray. I know that's blasphemous to some on the radical left, but pray that these folks are making good, wholesome, correct decisions. Now, what that does not mean, it does not mean that we're not allowed to speak out. It does not mean that suddenly the ideas and policies that are embraced by the person in the White House suddenly becomes the will of God. I mean, that's not what that means. We have voices. We have a voice, or I guess voices. We have a voice in this election, in the election process. And yes, I know the questions and concerns and all that. I don't want to get into that. Time being perhaps the biggest factor at this point. But, there are plenty of examples in history and biblical history where, there were good kings and bad kings, right? There were kings that did evil in the eyes of God. There were kings that did that pleased God, right? Just like there's individual people, individual businesses, people that that do good, and those who have an attraction to doing evil and living in darkness and rejecting truth. It doesn't mean that if a policy that's being endorsed by the administration is evil and wicked and not based in truth, then we have an obligation to oppose that, right? It doesn't give someone carte blanche authority to do whatever they want. We are a nation that's self-governed. That's an important difference too. We don't have a king. We have a king, at least those of us who are Christians do, and he reigns in heaven. We don't need a king here on earth. That role has been filled already. In fact, I know that many on the left want to be the savior, and I tell them with all due respect, that role has been filled, and there's nothing you can do to come close to the abilities of the one who has filled it. You're nowhere near as qualified or as good, and you can't save me any more than the Savior already has. So there's important differences and distinctions here. I think that this sometimes can be confusing, maybe to folks, or folks can have this, I don't know, well-meaning Christians can have this maybe used against them sometimes not even intentionally. When you hear pray for your leader, pray for your person in authority, suddenly whatever they say goes. That's not the way that's intended to be interpreted. And I'm going to tell you things. There's plenty of things that the modern Democrat Party is clamoring for as it pertains to issues about life. I think as it pertains to issues about freedom and liberty, right? The left wants to take liberty and choice. They're enemies of this in many instances. And that is not a good thing. God gave us choice. God gave us free will. The government's job is not to micromanage that. We should oppose that. We should stand firmly for that, for choice, for freedom, for liberty. Doesn't mean that just because someone's in the White House who wants to control things that suddenly that God's changed his perspective or what's good and acceptable and decent. It just means that the times are, you can still pray for the people in the positions of authority without following every whim and dictate that they give us or agreeing that it's the right thing to do. So wanted to say that. Time is not on my side here. I got to take a break. Come back and wrap up. Be back here in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
Need to refresh or renovate your commercial space? Call Interior Construction Services today. Providing the highest level of quality construction at a competitive price, our service-minded team is here to deliver the detail-oriented environment you're looking to create on time and on budget. Call us at 317-991-4660 or visit us online at interiorconstruct.com. Interior Construction Services. Progressive, productive, professional.
I want to get one more season out of my furnace or air conditioner. Have you or someone you know ever made that statement? Economy heating, air conditioning, and plumbing has heard it a lot. Did you know that furnaces and air conditioners are most likely to break down when they're under stress? That means during the hottest and coldest months of the year, like those months quickly approaching us. With winter on the horizon, now is the time to replace that old rickety unit. With 0% financing for up to 72 months and up to $600 in instant rebates, now is the time to buy. Doing great work is Economy's priority, and the satisfaction of their customers is their number one goal, guaranteed. Make your home comfortable this
Highest
winter.
level of quality
Contact Economy
construction at a
Heating,
competitive-
Air Conditioning, and Plumbing today by calling 317-831-5279 or visit them at economyheatingandair.com.
Our sense of smell stimulates memory and emotion. A scent can seemingly transport us to another place in time. Homemade, hand-poured candles and melts from spur-of-the-moment creations will give
Yes,
your
level
nose
of
the
quality
experience the
Economy
rest of your
Heating,
body is
Air
missing during
Condition-
any season of the year. Crackling firewood, fresh-cut grass, Macintosh apple, and even racing fuel are some of their over 200 engaging fragrances. Visit spurofthemomentcreations.com and enter coupon code TODD at checkout to receive 15% off your order today.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
All right, folks, that is unfortunately all of the time that we have remaining today for the week. But fear not, you can always listen to archives of our program, toddhuffshow.com/listen. You can also download our podcast, which is totally free, and I ask that you consider doing, on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's just search The Todd Huff Show and hit that subscribe button, again, totally for free. And you can catch up with programs that you missed over the weekend or whatever. But appreciate you listening, tuning in, folks. Truly enjoy this. It's a true blessing, and you help me make that possible for me. So have a great weekend. See you Monday. SDG. Take care.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the health care they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
As a listener of this program, I have no doubt that you embrace the value of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And when you have the opportunity to work with a company that fully embraces and shares these values, I'm sure you jump at it. Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is just that type of company in Central Indiana. Jeff and Jod Woods have a team of professional technicians here to help tune up your furnace or install a quality new train system. And they're also here to fix those nasty plumbing problems that seem to happen at the absolute worst time. So the next time you have a plumbing, heating, or cooling need, give the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing a call. Call 317-831-5279. That's 317-831-5279. Or visit economyheatingandair.com.
You rely on your vehicle every day. It's not a member of the family, but you spend as much time with it as most family members. You wouldn't take your family to just any doctor, so don't trust your vehicle to just any repair service. At Raymond's Auto and Truck Repair in Plainfield, we have well-trained, caring technicians that have the expertise to get you back on the road. For 25 years, we've been servicing personal, commercial, and fleet vehicles. Give us a call at 317-838-7112 for the car service you deserve.